Zechariah 8. Again the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy, and I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus saith the Lord, I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age, and the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith the Lord of hosts. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country, and from the west country. I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their God in truth and in righteousness. Isaiah 11. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse, and a branch shall grow out of his roots. And the Spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the Spirit of wisdom and understanding, the Spirit of counsel and might, the Spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord, and shall make him of quick understanding in the fear of the Lord. And he shall not judge after the sight of his eyes, neither reprove after the hearing of his ears, but with righteousness shall he judge the poor, and reprove with equity for the meek of the earth. And he shall smite the earth with the rod of his mouth, and with the breath of his lips shall he slay the wicked. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf, and the young lion, and the fatling together, and the little child shall lead them, and the cow and the bear shall feed. Their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord, as the waters cover the sea.
So what we're doing is we're heralding, announcing the coming of the next world, the coming of righteousness, the establishment of a righteous kingdom and the proper people that belong in it.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to us younger brothers. And peace and blessing salutations. Hopefully, like out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds. In the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. Pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful leg, the believers, the listeners who have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. All right. And what I want to get into today is dealing with everlasting. You know, it's a word, you know, I looked it up and it's mentioned in the scriptures, I believe, like 91 times. All right. And what we have to understand, all right, there was an everlasting covenant made with our forefathers. All right. And when Christians, you know, try to, all right, disannul, you know, the covenant that was made to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, all right, and the descendants, you know, of Jacob, then they're calling the Most High a liar. You know, they're saying that the Most High lied to Abraham, you know, and they don't understand the type of rebellion, you know, that they're forwarding by making, these doctrines and these statements, of, the replacement theology, and, and when they go into other nations added to the covenant, well, that promise was never made to the other nations. Okay. And we're going to get into that promise. All right. And this lesson was inspired by the elder brothers, the elder brother out there in Atlanta, the elder brother Tazawon, and he mentioned the term everlasting, concerning the kingdom, having his mind, him and another brother were doing a lesson, and they were speaking on things that were gearing towards the everlasting kingdom. Just the thought of everlasting itself, is hard to wrap your mind around in this body. All right, but it's something to look forward to, and it's a promise, all right, made to us, all right, by Yahweh Bashim Al Shah, okay, through our forefathers, man. Okay, so let's go here to the beginning, of this word. All right, going to the beginning of this covenant. Okay, so this is the book of Genesis 17:5. Now, when the Lord, would change one of our forefathers' name, all right, it would be a major blessing attached. All right, just as a king, you can be, a carpenter, or a blacksmith. Okay, but you can get summoned, by the king. The king, he been getting a good report, when you conduct, he's been peeping you, okay, and he summons you, okay, and he immediately changed your title. So now you're a duke, okay, or you're a lord, okay. You see, so now you have a title, and that title comes with perks. He's changed your name, okay. Now it's Lord such and such. Now it's Duke such and such, or whatever. Just giving an example. Well, the Lord did that on a major scale with our forefathers. All right. We're going to see this with Abraham. He's going to do it with Jacob. Okay. And we're, all right, born into, all right, those promises and those blessings of our forefathers. Okay. Which we're going to prove in the scriptures, man. Okay. Now, this is Genesis 17:5. It says, neither shall thy name anymore be called Abram, but thy name shall be called Abraham, for a father of many nations, all right, have I made thee. Okay, and you get this in the Hebrew, Abraham, okay, because this name represents, it's purpose. That's one thing in the ancient word, your name would represent, your purpose, all right, and Abraham being, all right, the progenitor, okay, of the lineage that was made this promise, which ultimately that lineage goes back, to Adam, okay, but it was solidified, through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, okay, and it was, confirmed through the birth of Yahushua, okay, so you go here, all right, in the Hebrew is Abba Raham, okay, which goes into what? Father of multitude, all right, or chief of multitude, okay, the father of the promise, okay. So when you go here, what was their promise? All right, verse 6, it says, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, okay, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee. Okay, so he's promising Abraham a dynasty, man. Okay, he's promising Abraham a dynasty, all right, and the legacy, because a dynasty just goes into a family of rulers. Okay, let's get this word dynasty real quick. Dynasty. Because you go into this word, all right, which you'll find this. All right, so let's go here just to get this definition for dynasty. All right, so you go here, dynasty meaning. All right, so dynasty, okay. Dynasty, it says a line of hereditary rulers of a country. Oh, Salaki. Okay, a line of hereditary, rulers of a country. All right, which means what? Similar synonyms for it's a bloodline, okay, a lineage, a house, a family. Okay, so he promised our forefathers a dynasty, an everlasting dynasty. You see, something that's never been done in the earth. Okay, because dynasties come and dynasty go. Okay, you might have a dynasty, of 3 generations of rulers, like the Flavian dynasty. Well, actually, there was 2, because Titus and Domitian were brothers. All right, of Vespasian. Okay, you have the Hasmonean dynasty amongst, Jake at that time. Starting from Judas, you know, down through the rest of his brothers, and then eventually the sons of his younger brother. Okay, I think it was Simon. Okay, they will have what the Hasmonean dynasty because it was all from the same lineage, all right, same house, same family. Okay, it says a succession of people from the same family who play a prominent role in business, politics, or another field. Okay, and this is going to be us, man, because everyone's going to have their rank and their office in the kingdom, and it's going to be all of one big family. The kingdom of heaven is going to be one big family, all right, ruling the earth in righteousness, man. Okay, this is what we have to understand. See, people have such a warped and twisted idea of what the kingdom is, what a kingdom is, and what the kingdom of heaven in the Bible is speaking of, man. But it's speaking of a bloodline, all right, a chosen lineage, a chosen house, a chosen family, a chosen bloodline that's going to rule the earth in righteousness forever. All right, and their bloodline is traced through the scriptures. All right, we're going to get into it. So, going back, all right, to the scriptures. So let's go back here to Genesis 17. All right, so when you get back to the book of Genesis 17:6, I read it again, and I will make thee exceeding fruitful, and will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee, a dynasty, and I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be a power unto thee and to thy seed after thee. That bloodline. Okay, and the Bible is specific when it speaks on this bloodline. So this covenant is an everlasting covenant. Let's go here. Okay, but a Christian will tell you that covenant no longer stands. All right, that through Jesus Jesus remixed it. Okay, nah, man, that covenant, all right, it still stands to this day. Okay, and we're on the grace period, which the grace period is a bridge from the old covenant to the new covenant, and it was always set up, all right, that there was going to be a new covenant, man. There was going to be everlasting. Okay, that's why he made these promises even before the first covenant was broken. Okay, he promised of an everlasting covenant because it was always set up, all right, to be an everlasting covenant, man. Okay, so going here to this word everlasting, all right, in the Hebrew is what awalam. Okay, now jump down to the point. Okay, it says long duration, futurity, all right, forever, ever, everlasting, evermore, perpetual. Okay, now you go here, the main few at the end, it says continuous existence, perpetual, continuous existence, perpetual. We will have a kingdom that's going to continue forever, perpetual. It'll never be, all right, a gap in between the rulership Yahweh Shai is coming to establish for the nation of Israel, for their bloodline. Yahweh Shai is coming to establish a kingdom for a particular bloodline, a particular lineage, man. Okay? Point blank, period. And it's going to be a continuous existence. The age of Israel is going to be a continual existence in the earth. When Yahweh Shai establishes his throne, that's what it's going to be forever. Okay? The standard, okay? The the laws, okay? The houses, the Israelite houses that's going to be in power, that's going to stand forever. Okay? Because kingdoms come and kingdoms go. All right? Dynasties come, dynasties go. Okay? But this dynasty of Israel that Yahweh Bashim al-Shai is going to set up is going to be everlasting. All right? Continuous. It says everlasting, indefinite, or unending future eternity. Okay? And you follow the narrative of the Bible, this narrative only follows one lineage of people. Okay? There's no other lineage of people that everlasting is attached to, man. Okay? When it comes to an everlasting rulership. Okay? Now, let's go here. Just to show that the same thing was done to Jacob. And then we're just going to keep confirming. He's going to keep following this lineage throughout the scriptures. And we're going to see that it's forever. You see? This is Genesis 35:10. It says, and the Most High said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called Jacob in Slaki. It says, and the Most High said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy name shall not be called any more Jacob. Okay? So now we're going to what? We're seeing a name change. Okay? Which is a promotion. You see? This is a change in status. It changes his status with the Most High. Okay? Jacob is finna enter into the favor of his father, all right? Technically, grandfather Abraham, which Isaac, was blessed as well. Okay? You go into Isaac. Isaac, was called out and blessed. Okay? Matter of fact, just to prove it, just so we don't leave nothing unturned. All right? And we know how a nigga get. Okay? I think it might be 26. All right? This is Genesis 26:2. All right, this is the Lord speaking to Isaac. And then we'll get back to Jacob. Genesis 26:2, it says, and the Lord Yahweh by Hashem al-Shai appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell thee of, sojourn in this land, and I will be with thee and will bless thee, for unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father. Okay, so this the blessings and the promising of a dynasty will follow, all right, from Abraham unto Isaac. Okay, the Lord deals with Isaac, all right, in this account, man. So we seen him deal with Abraham, Genesis 17. Now Genesis 26, he's dealing with Isaac. And I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven. Same thing that was told to Abraham. And I will give unto thy seed all these countries, and in thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed, man. Okay, and that seed, all right, which is singular, is speaking of Jacob. All right, and through Jacob, he will have those 12 sons, which will become nations unto themselves in the earth under the banner of Israel. Okay. All nations being blessed is the nations of Israel. Okay, those tribes, man. Okay, now eventually in the kingdom, after 1,000 years, the nations will, all right, get to enjoy a righteous rulership. Okay, with the blessing, that initial blessing, all right, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is for the tribes, man. Okay, what scripture say, well, they shall no more be two nations but one, and that's the house of David. All right. Being built in this time, man, being raised in this time. All right. So he dealt with, okay, Isaac in Genesis 26. So let's go to 35, man. Okay. He never dealt with any other lineage, all right, as this, man. Okay. This is Genesis 35:10. It says, and the Most High said unto him, thy name is Jacob, thy name shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name. And he called his name Israel. And the Most High said unto him, I am God Almighty. Be fruitful and multiply, a nation and a company of nations shall be of thee, and kings shall come out of thy loins. Okay, you see that? So the same thing that was promised, all right, unto Abraham, okay, to Isaac, okay, was promised unto Jacob, all right, whose name was changed into Israel, Yasha'Allah, Prince of the Power. That's a title, okay? That's a royal title. You see, verse 12, it says, in the land which I gave Abraham and Isaac, I will to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee. Wait a minute, and to thy seed after thee. So everything that comes from Jacob, okay, all right, is eligible for this blessing. Okay, qualifies for this blessing. And right now, only the hopeful elect will come into it through faith, just as Abraham, all right, was blessed through faith. You see? And it says, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed after thee will I give the land. Okay? So now you go here, because that land represents rulership of the earth, man. Why you think those small hats, all right, are always fighting tooth and nail, to establish, okay, themselves in that land. Okay? That land, okay, that's where the earth is supposed to be ruled from. All right? And these devils, they know that. All right? Jerusalem, all right, Israel is the center of the earth. Okay, it's the gateway from the east to the west. Okay, and these devils, they've put themselves in our land, pretending to be us. Okay, as they've been given, the earth. The earth is given to the hand of the wicked. Okay, but ultimately, us being in that land, all right, that is where the dynasties of Israel is going to establish world dominion. All right, in that land, man. Okay, under Yahushua. All right, forever. Okay, this is Psalms 105 and 6. It says, O ye seed of Abraham, his servant, ye children of Jacob, his chosen. He is the Lord our power. His judgments are in all the earth. He have remembered his covenant forever. You see, everlasting. You see? Ain't no way this can be disannulled. The Most High is not a man that he could lie. If a brother want to post it, I think there's Numbers, what's that, Numbers maybe 23, 24. If a brother can post it about Bashar. And it says, he is the Lord, our power, possessor. His judgments are in all the earth. He have remembered his covenant forever, the word which he commanded to 1,000 generations, which covenant he made with Abraham, and his oath unto Isaac, and confirmed, you see this, and confirmed the same unto Jacob for a law, and to Israel for an everlasting covenant. Okay? Continuous. Okay? That's why the scriptures say, well, he will yet choose Israel. Okay? And the kingdom that we're going to have is going to be a continuous kingdom, man. Okay? It's going to be a forever dynasty. All right? A one family ruling the earth. We're going to be forever in our golden age, man. Okay? Let's see. See if it give us some. Probably get into that. But yep. So let's go back. All right. I want to get this. Okay, Con. Yep. It's the brother. It's the brother GMS the Mourns too. Numbers 23 and 19. It said, the Most High is not a man that he should lie, neither the Son of Man that he should repent. Have he said, and shall he not do it, or have he spoken, and shall he not make it good? All right. And as we've been going through the scriptures, we see that he's continually made an everlasting promise to a particular lineage, man. He's going to do that. He's going to perform that. We haven't seen that yet. Okay. We haven't entered into this perpetual, all right, kingdom of Israel. We haven't entered into that yet. The fact that we don't have a kingdom lets us know that this prophecy hasn't been fulfilled. Okay, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob are in captivity right now. So that lets us know that this prophecy that we're reading, these promises, these everlasting, all right, covenant, okay, that we're reading about, this dynasty that we're reading about hasn't been established, because it's going to be a forever, continual, perpetual dynasty, man. So the fact that it's not established means that he hasn't performed this yet, man. Okay, but we're here. Okay, all the signs point to this promise. Okay, getting ready to be fulfilled in the earth, man. Even the fact that we are awakened. Okay, that's another one. All right, it's the brother of GMS Des Moines, Psalms 89:34 says, "My covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is gone out of my lips." It's been spoken. Okay, it's been spoken. Even when Isaac, blessed Jacob, thinking he was blessing Esau, when Esau came up complaining, all right, Isaac told Esau, like, look, I gave Jacob everything and he's going to be blessed. He doubled down on it. It was already spoken. Okay. Verse 35. It said, "Once have I sworn by my holiness that I would not lie unto David." Okay. Come on, man. So you got to deal with the promises made to David in 2 Samuel, the 7th chapter. His seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon, okay? As the moon, and as a faithful witness in the heaven, which the stars and the moons, what? They're celestial beings. They're forever. Okay? They're there forever. You see? And who's going to make, all right, that promise stand? Yahweh Shai, because he comes from the lineage of David, and he's going to sit that throne forever. The throne of David is going to be established forever. Mount Zion, the government of Israel, is going to be established forever. Okay? He didn't lie when he wasn't just saying something when he was speaking to our forefathers, man. Okay? He wasn't in the moment. No, he was establishing things forever. And this is why we've been awakened now to come into, all right, this everlasting covenant, man. Let's go here real quick. Maybe I'll jump back. Since the brother said there's another one, we're gonna link it up with Psalm 72. The water to you brothers, for adding to the screen. All right, but you go here to the book of Sirach, all right, chapter 44. 44. All right. Would you jump down to verse, all right, 19? All right. Sirach 44:19. "Abraham was a great father of many people. In glory was there none like unto him, who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. He established a covenant in his flesh, and he was proved." All right. And when he was proved, all right, he was found faithful. His willingness to sacrifice Isaac, because he was willing to do that through faith. He believed that the Lord, okay, could bring Isaac back. Okay. It made good on the promise, because through Isaac, Abraham was promised a dynasty through Isaac. So Isaac was his only son. Okay. And if you gotta understand, if he was to sacrifice Isaac, that would be the end of his dynasty. Okay. That's why you have, in the East, okay, they wouldn't only, kill the king, they would destroy anything of the king's lineage to try to root out their dynasty, their succession. Okay. They would try to root out their lineage out of the earth by doing away with the men. Okay. When King David, was coming, he was finna get busy with Nabal. He said he was going to destroy everything that pissed against the wall. And there was every male in the house of Nabal. He wanted to blot out their lineage. Okay, so you got to understand the Lord was asking Abraham to blot out his own image, his own, so like his own lineage. Okay, and this was after he was being promised a dynasty, man. So there was major faith by Abraham to be willing to do that, man. Okay, and says, therefore, he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, okay, and that he will multiply him as the dust of the earth and exalt his seed as the stars and cause them to inherit from sea to sea and from the river unto the uttermost part of the land. With Isaac did he establish likewise for Abraham his father's sake the blessing of all men. And we read this in Genesis. Okay, this is just summing up what we were reading in Genesis, man. Those accounts when the Lord dealt with Abraham, he dealt with Isaac, and he dealt with Jacob. Okay, and it says, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessings and gave him a heritage and divided his portions among the 12 tribes. Did he depart them? Okay, among the 12 tribes did he depart them, man. And that's why you can go all throughout the Bible and the narrative stays the same or with the same people. Okay, let's go here. The same narrative, man. Let's go to the book of Acts. All right. And go to the book of Acts, verse 26. Get to the point. It's Apostle Paul speaking, Acts 26. All right. And I started 4. I started 4. It said, my manner of life from my youth, which was first among my own nation at Jerusalem, know all the Jews. All right. Because Apostle Paul, his father was a Pharisee. Okay. And he was taught, by Gamaliel, which was a renowned, Pharisee, okay, of the Sanhedrin, okay, which, the Pharisees, some of them, was over righteous, okay, doing too much, but they was a more sincere sect than the Sadducees. The Sadducees were the men that was linked to Rome in a major way, okay. That's the high priest come from the sect of the Sadducees, okay. But Apostle Paul, he came from the sect of the Pharisees. You would find, more sincere amongst the Pharisees. They were just, gung-ho in the law, and they would, a lot of times they would do too much. Okay, but you had certain ones, that were sincere. Okay, it says, which knew me from the beginning, if they would testify that after the most straightest sect, all right, because the Pharisees were, they were diligent in the law. Okay. Well, you had some, that weaponized the law to make themselves look as if they was holier than thou. And that's what Yahushua was teaching against. Okay. It says that after the most greatest sect of our religion, I lived a Pharisee, and now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise, all right, made of the Most High unto our fathers possessor. Because Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that lineage is not everybody. That's why Ishmael, he's not included in that. You never hear Ishmael included in that succession. Okay? He's never included. Okay? You never hear Esau included in that succession. You don't hear the sons Abraham had with Qatar in that succession. You only hear of a particular succession. Okay? Because you can be, if you're a king and you have 10 sons, well, the oldest son ideally would be the heir, and his sons will be the heir. So all his other brothers, they will be princes. They will be prince. They will, your other brothers, all of them will have the office of a prince. Okay, but they wouldn't be a part of their succession. unless the whole lineage of the oldest brother, if they died, then it will go on to the next in the succession. Okay? So when you go into it, he's speaking to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob specifically. No one else is included in the inheritance, man. Even though Isaac had a physical brother, Ishmael, and other brothers through, the children Abraham had with Qatar, the inheritance only goes to him. Okay? And then it was passed to Jacob, all right, which Esau was the oldest, but the blessing went to Jacob because Israel the firstborn in the spirit anyway. And the Lord had that play out for for the sake of drama anyway in his movie. Or this back and forth between Jacob and Esau. But the record, because the Bible is like a record directly from the Most High of who's the rightful rulers of the earth, man. Okay, and in the records, they show, all right, that these rightful rulers come from this lineage of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, so going back into Acts 26:6, it says, "Now I stand and am judged for the hope of the promise made of the Most High unto our fathers, unto which promise our 12 tribes, instantly serving the Most High day and night, hope to come." 12 tribes. Okay, who are those 12 tribes, man? Okay, the sons of Jacob, of their lineage. Okay, so how could Apostle Paul open up? Because that's another writings that they like to go to say Apostle Paul opened up salvation to other nations. No, he fully understands, okay, who the promises are for, man. It says, instantly serving the Most High day and night, hope to come, for which hope's sake, King Agrippa, I am accused of the Jews, man. Okay, so the 12 tribes, that narrative never ends, even when you go to Revelation. All right, 7 and 9. Okay, let's get this. Revelation 7 and 9 says, "After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands." Okay, now let's get this word kindred. Because what are these people talking about? Okay, you get this word kindred. Okay, in the Greek, which is philo, all right, or phule. Okay, and what does it say? In the New Testament, all persons descended from one of the 12 sons of the patriarch Jacob, okay, an offshoot, i.e., race or clan, kindred, tribe, in the Strong's definition. So it's speaking of a lineage, okay, the kindred, the people that come from these different nations, maybe even looking like other nations. All right, speaking the tongues of other nations that's going to be delivered are bloodline descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. All right, and due to us being scattered, they took on, all right, the features of the other nations and the languages of the other nations, but they're from that bloodline, and they was predestined to be delivered. Okay, that's why you go here, because remember, it's only one dynasty that was promised. There's only one continual dynasty, forever, everlasting dynasty that was promised. All right. That's why you go into this word robes. Okay. Because the Lord still has to make good on their promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We've seen the prelude with King David and King Solomon. But see, that wasn't everlasting. You see? So you go into this word stole in the Greek for robes. All right. And you go into it says specifically a loose outer garment for men extended to the feet, worn by kings, priests, and persons of rank. Kings, priests, and person of rank. So what nation was promised, all right, to be a royal priesthood? Okay, let's go back here. So like, let's go back here to Exodus, and then we'll go back to You know what I'm saying? You can bounce all through the scriptures and it's the same narrative, man. It fit perfectly like a puzzle. Okay? This is Exodus 19:5. And it says, "Now therefore, if you will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, then you shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine." And the beautiful thing about the new covenant, the laws are going to be within us. Okay? We're going to be perfected. So we're going to get all the perks of obedience, which is a continual, all right, perpetual rulership, man. Okay? That's the perks of obedience is a continual perpetual rulership. Okay? That's why the new covenant is based on better promises where we're going to be changed to uphold our end. And see, the Most High not slacking in upholding his end. We were slacking. Okay, so we're being refined and then we're going to be changed and perfected, all right, to hold up our end forever. Okay? Verse 6, it says, "And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel." Okay? Same narrative. That's why even when you go to Revelations, and this is why I brought this out, we're going to keep going down. Revelation 7. Okay? Because you jump up. All right, and I'm gonna get this in the NLT just so it lay it out. It lay it out a little different. I think. Let me see. Yep. So you look at it, and I heard how many were marked with the seal of the Most High. 144,000 were sealed from all the tribes of Israel. And this in Revelation, man, the same narrative, because this is the Lord making good on his promise, all right, to the forefathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Judah, 12,000. Reuben, 12,000. Gad, 12,000. Asher, Naphtali, Manasseh, 12,000. Simeon, 12,000. Levi, Issachar, okay, 12,000. All right. Zebulun, 12,000. Joseph, which is interchangeable with Ephraim, okay, 12,000. Benjamin, 12,000, man. Okay, it's the same people. The same people that the Lord made the promise, that same lineage, that same bloodline. Okay? That's gonna enter into an everlasting kingdom. That's why you even go here. Okay? You go to Revelation. So like 21. All right. Revelation 21. Read this in 12. Revelation 21 and 12. It said the city was broad and high with 12 gates guarded by 12 angels, and the names of the 12 tribes of Israel were written in the gates. Okay? The same narrative, the same bloodline, the same lineage. It never changed. This is the back of the Bible we're in, man. And we started in Genesis. And you navigate all through the Bible. Okay? It's only speaking of this one lineage that's going to have this everlasting kingdom. Okay? You go here. Let's go back to Isaiah. All right, this is the book of Isaiah 45. I'm gonna get it back in the KJV. All right, so there's the book of Isaiah, chapter 45. Jump down to verse 17. It says, "But Israel shall be saved in the Lord." Okay, Israel with an everlasting salvation. All right, yeah. It said, "Ye shall not be ashamed nor confound world without end." So let's get this word world. All right, it says without end. Okay. So you go into the word world. All right, it's the same word for everlasting, man. I will long. Okay, it's the same word for everlasting. You see, a continuous existence, perpetual. The earth is going to be under the continuous age. Okay, we're always going to exist as a king. We'll never exist as slaves or anything less than the king as Israelite men. Israelite women, all right, are going to be the top women forever, perpetual. Wives to kings, man, forever. Children going to be highborn forever. Okay, even our existence is going to be different forever, man. We'll never be in this state that we in now. Okay, because kings go into captivity, as you can see. Because right now we're in captivity. Okay, but this is it. This is the last one before we come into, all right, the existence, continual existence as rulers under Yahweh, man. Okay, you see that? So this everlasting age, all right, is yet to come. Okay, and we're here. You see, and that's why you read verse 48. Verse 18, Isaiah 45:18. For thus said the Lord that created the heavens, the Most High Himself that formed the earth and made it. He established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited, to be fruitful and multiply. Okay, we're going to get to enjoy family forever. Okay, enjoy the earth forever, man. You know, we're going to continually just exist in the Lord's favor forever. You see, continually. Okay, just continue to grow in abundance in these things forever, man. All right, it said, for thus said the Lord that created the heavens, the Most High that formed it. All right, the earth and made it. He established it. He created it not in vain. He formed it to be inhabited. I am the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, and there is none else, man. All right, and who's going to be the king of this dynasty? All right, the top king in this dynasty, because we're going to be what, a nation of kings and priests. Okay, with this top king. Okay, Yahushua being born represented forever, a forever rulership. Hey, that's why Simeon, when he seen Yahushua in the temple, he said, I can die now. We good. We good. Simeon said, I'm good. I can die. You know, he's seen the consolation of Israel, which is the comfort. Okay, that's why now, hey, we ain't here to be comfortable, man. We here to fight. We here to grind for, all right, this everlasting kingdom, man. We got forever to be comforted, man. Okay, we're comforted by this word in the midst of, you know, the judgment and the straight gate. Okay, you see, but the rest is to come, and it's gonna be forever. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 9, verse 6. It said, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Now let's go into this word. We know what everlasting, continual, existence, perpetual. Let's go into this word Father. Okay, which is one of the titles of Yahweh. All right, when you go into this word Father, all right, which in the Hebrew is Abba. Okay, now it says what? It says head or founder of an household, group, family, or clan. Now, isn't Yahweh Shai, all right, the only begotten Son, the first spirit created? Okay, the only spirit created by the Heavenly Father, and He created everything else. Okay, so Yahweh Shai is the head of the family, okay, of Israel. Okay, that's why He's getting that portion from the Father. That's why He gets the biggest portion from the Father. He's the head. All right, Heavenly Father created Him to be the head of Israel. Okay, now you go here. What it says, it says of producer, okay, generator, All right. Because Yahweh Shai, he created everything else. He created all of Israel. He created all of everything. As you read Colossians chapter 1. Okay, it says of benevolence and protection, which is the duty of a king. Okay, the benevolence goes back to duty, so as a king is duty to protect his realm. Okay, to protect, their dynasty, his family. Okay, it says term of respect and honor, ruler or chief. Okay, ruler or chief. You see? So this is going to be continued. It's going to be forever. Yahweh Shai is going to be all these things forever, man. Okay, unto the nation. You see? So going back, just to finish this off, and we're going to go into that in Psalm 72. It says, of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this, man. Okay, so the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end. Because each Israelite man that's born in the kingdom is going to be an extension of the government, all right, of Yahweh Shai. Okay, so the increase of his government is going to be no end. It's going to constantly expand and expand. It's going to expand in the earth, and eventually it's going to have to branch out to other planets, to other galaxies, man. You see, this is a big thing that we're a part of. Okay, but hey, what's right in front of us, man, is getting the earth back in order, man. Okay, and this is the continual, perpetual government and righteousness is going to do it. Okay, so let's go here. All right, and as always, get a couple more. This Psalm 72. All right, let's read this in the NLT. Psalm 72. All right. And 1. Now it says what? Psalm for Solomon. Okay. Will the King Solomon have an everlasting kingdom? Okay. In the spirit, this is a psalm for Yahweh Shai. All right. If you can receive it. It says, give your love of justice to the king. Love of justice, man, which Yahweh Shai. Okay. Melchizedek, king of righteousness, man. Okay. Oh, power and righteousness to the king's son. Help him judge your people in the right way. Let the poor always be treated fairly. And this is speaking of Israel. All right. Hey, we're going to get our fair shake forever. Okay. May the mountains yield prosperity for all. This is the government of Israel. All right. And their prosperity is to the Israelites, man. Now, eventually, these heathens, they will get to enjoy, all right, their righteous kingdom. They're going to have, their portion of prosperity under us. All right. And they're not going to be nowhere near the status, the glory. Okay. They're not going to be immortal. They're not going to have the powers. They're not going to have, the resources. Okay. But we're going to have so much, man, that, that the abundance is going to trickle down. All right. And standard is going to be the way in order to see this. Our kingdom is not going to be like this kingdom where the more wicked you are, the more you excel. No, it's going to be the exact opposite, man. Okay. Righteousness is going to be rewarded in our kingdom. And it says, may the mountains yield prosperity for all, and may the hills be fruitful. It says, help him to defend the poor, to rescue the children of the needy, and crush their oppressors, man, which is Esau, Edom. Okay. May they fear you as long as the sun shines. Okay. And as long as the moon remains in the sky. Yes, forever. Okay. The moon and the sun are eternal beings, celestial eternal beings. May the king's rule be refreshing like spring rain on freshly cut grass, like the showers that water the earth, man, because Yahweh Shai's rulership is going to be so refreshing. It's going to be a forever refreshment to us, man. The rulership that Yahweh Shai is coming to establish, man. Okay, that's why I say those that hunger for righteousness will be satisfied, man. Okay, it says, may all the godly flourish during his reign. May there be abundant prosperity until the moon is no more. May he reign from sea to sea and from the Euphrates rivers to the end of the earth, man. That's everywhere. That's everything, man. Okay, so these dynasties, as you go here to Psalm, okay, which the Lord promised our forefathers an everlasting dynasty, man. You know, this is Psalms 122 and 5. It said, here stand the thrones where judgment is given, the thrones of the dynasty of David. You see, the thrones of the dynasty of David, man. That's all right, the rightful rulers, that generation, okay, of obedient Israelites, man. Okay, the 144, okay, that forever government. You see, and let's go here because it's gonna be. We can end it here. Let's go to Isaiah 51. I'll start at 10. All right, Isaiah 51. Start at 11. It said, therefore, the redeemed of the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Shah, shall return and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head, and they shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away. Okay, and we're going to come into the kingdom, you know, with joy as we come out those chariots, man, you know, and begin to set up righteousness in the earth, man. It's going to be in joy. You know, we're going to be back with our power. Our king, our great king, Yahweh Shai is going to be amongst us, man. You know, no more of the hassles and the worries and pettiness and manipulation of this world. You know, just pure enjoyment of everything, man. You know, nothing comes with a headache. Okay? The complete opposite of this side, man. You know, which is going to be joy. And it's going to be everlasting, man. Okay? So that's the point. You know, there's so many, you know, precepts that go into that, man. We could be here another, you know, 2 hours, you know, and still, you know, come short, you know, just going into that. But the point being made, you know, Lord will, you know, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified. So next time I say Shalom, Kwam Yashala, Bob soon, Shalom.